All right, so this is incredibly important and something that needs to be on your radar because right now, the Trump administration is trying to make this story go away, and we cannot let them. There is very obviously something going on with Donald Trump's health. His health is declining pretty rapidly, and I think that's clear to anybody who's kind of keeping up with this saga. And this was further proven by a video that was accidentally released yesterday of Donald Trump at one of his many golf clubs, and in the video you can see the back of both of his hands. Now, we've talked about on this channel the bruising on one of Donald Trump's hands, his right hand, and well, there's so much makeup caked on top of it, but the video showed that actually the bruising is now on both hands, which is a pretty dramatic development given the fact that the White House will not tell us what's going on. And when they were reached for comment about this new video, let's just say what they had to say in response wasn't great, left a lot to be desired, and we're going to read between lines on their comment. But first and foremost, before we dive into this video, I want to show you photos we got earlier this week of Donald Trump's right hand, the bruising on the first hand that we've all seen. This was one of the images, and obviously there's makeup on his hand. Like anybody can see that, Democrat, Republican. There's very clearly makeup on his hand, not blended well whatsoever, and it's covering up some bruising. You can even kind of see the bruise peek out on the left side of the makeup stain. And then here's another photo with which is a more close-up angle of the hand. And again, just very obviously something going on here. And so far, the Trump admin's excuse for this is that Donald Trump is just shaking so many hands, and that's why there's bruising, which I don't think you need to be a doctor to say, like, that's total BS. And so this new bruise spotted on his other hand has raised quite a few alarms across the United States. This video, these bruises that were able to be found in this new video, came from the son of Major League Baseball player Roger Clemens, who was playing golf with Donald Trump at his club in Virginia. The kid, Casey Clemens, decided to post a video on Instagram titled "A Day on the Course with the President," and at one point in the video, as the camera pans to Trump overlooking his course, the back of his left hand comes into view, showing dark discoloration, nearly identical in placement to the one on his right hand. Now, MAGA has been saying, well, what if it's the same hand? Not quite. Videos and photos can be sometimes mirrored, as we all know, but here it's clearly his left hand, since the Trump logo on the back of his hat is correctly oriented. And as I mentioned, the White House was reached out for comment about this new bruising, and Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary, did not deny the existence of a new bruise. All she said was Donald Trump is a man of the people. He meets more Americans and shakes their hand on a daily basis than any other president in history. His commitment is unwavering, and he proves that every single day, yada, 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 just filler words. So she didn't deny the existence of this new bruising, and she's still running with the excuse that it's because he's shaking so many hands that this new bruise has shown up. Except that's, again, just total BS. And you can see a little bit in this video of the bruising on now his left hand. And of course, the original one was on his right hand. But without further ado, I want to get into this very short clip that shows you the bruises on both hands from the Midas Touch Network. And you can just see that it's pretty clear, essentially very clear on that right hand, pretty noticeable. And then there it is on the left hand, a closer up view. You can see that there is some bruising, absolutely, certainly, on his left hand that hasn't been there previously. And as I mentioned, the White House is not telling us what this bruising is. You know, their original excuse was that he's shaking hands, as we just talked about, but he's shaking hands with his right hand, his dominant hand, which, okay, yeah, maybe he's shaking hands with his dominant hand. Is he now shaking hands with his left hand as well? Is that what the White House is saying? He's just shaking so many hands with both hands? Because his left hand is not his dominant hand, but now that one also has bruising. So what's the excuse for that one? I bet they're still trying to workshop something. Now, as I mentioned, this has raised alarm across the United States, and it's not only Democrats like myself and you at home who are talking about this and concerned about this, it's also Republicans, conspiracy theorists on the far right, including Alex Jones, who is now projecting, in his view, that Donald Trump is going to have some form of medical collapse in the next 12 months. And this is coming from Alex Jones, lunatic on the right, huge Trump fan. Even he's saying something's off. Take a look.
Because you can see him declining faster and faster. It's not super bad yet. But unlike Biden, that was completely shot and had all these brain surgeries and the rest of it, Trump has got great genetics. He's tough, And if he takes care of himself, he can make it through these years and then after. But if he doesn't, he's going to have, I predict Trump is going to have some type of collapse within the next 12 months at the current trajectory. I'm not saying he's going to collapse. I'm saying if he doesn't take his foot off the gas pedal, I guarantee you, and I've got stamina, way better than most people.
Okay, all right.
If I had Trump's job at 51 for a month, I would have a nervous breakdown.
So Alex Jones is projecting that Donald Trump is going to have a medical collapse in the next 12 months if he doesn't take care of himself. And I don't think that Donald Trump is planning on adding a strict diet or an exercise regimen in his day. It's just not who Donald Trump is. It's never who Donald Trump has been. But even Alex Jones, far-right lunatic, is projecting a health collapse for Donald Trump in the next 12 months. And when you look at this bruising on both of his hands, when you look at his swollen ankles, and then you combine it with the fact that Donald Trump is also very clearly mentally declining, it paints a pretty grim picture of what the future looks like for Trump. Like, for example, just take a look at this clip from the Oval Office recently, where he said that people at voting booths, at voting stations across the United States, ask him to bring in his license plate to vote. That's what Donald Trump said.
When you go to a voting booth and you do it the right way and you go to a state that runs it properly, you go in, they even ask me. They asked me for my license plate, for identity. I said, I don't know if I have it. They said, sir, you have to have it. I was very impressed, actually.
You have to have your license plate, according to Donald Trump. And apparently he's gone to a voting booth somewhere in the country, whether it be Florida or New York, where he has voted before, and that's where they ask him for his license plate. Yeah, this is not a sane individual. This is not somebody who's doing well. I've said in different videos that this is not an example of peak human performance. And if you just look at Donald Trump and how he looks in public recently, he's not looking well. This is not a very well-nourished individual who's taking care of themselves and is performing at the top level. This is somebody who has bruising on his hands, his ankles are swollen, his brain is just not what it used to be. And he's the guy running the country right now. And so you're looking at this bruising, you're looking at his ankles, you're looking at his brain, and then you're also looking at some of the posts that you're seeing from Donald Trump on social media. And as I mentioned, it just paints a really ugly picture. Like, for example, in the middle of the night last night, again, Donald Trump was ranting about utter nonsense. He was demanding that ABC News and other outlets be taken off the air. They have their media licenses revoked by the FCC, and they should just be shut down or fined. For example, at 9:59 p.m., Donald Trump said, despite a very high popularity and according to many, among the greatest 8 months in presidential history, who's many, ABC and NBC fake news, two of the worst and most biased networks in history, give me 97% bad stories. If that's the case, they are simply an arm of the Democrat Party and should, according to many, have their licenses revoked by the FCC. I would be totally in favor of that because they're biased and untruthful, an actual threat to our democracy, MAGA. These are the rants that Donald Trump is going on in the middle of the night, calling for different news outlets that aren't favorable to him, which, by the way, ABC and NBC are actually quite down the middle, which aren't favorable to him, should be shut down. If we're going by that logic, by the way, that a network should be shut down because they have a slight bias in their reporting, then my God, Fox News should have been shut down years ago, decades ago. They should have been off the air for my entire life. But they're still on the air because we have this freedom of speech in the United States. It's kind of the First Amendment. I'm not sure if Donald Trump has kept up with his constitutional law. Maybe that's part of his decline. He just forgets these very basic things. But when I'm looking at a statement like this, number one, this in and of itself is concerning, that the president is up late at night ranting about things that are completely irrelevant to his job as president. That in and of itself is concerning when you combine it with all these different medical questions that we all have right now regarding Donald Trump. There's something off. There's something not right. And we don't know exactly what's not right because the White House is not telling us, and I don't expect them to be honest anytime soon. I don't think it's in their nature. but something's not right. And I think we can all see that. So look, I just had to show you this video and kind of break down this story further regarding Donald Trump's health. I really want to know what you think about it in the comments. I'll leave the video there. Thank you so much for watching. It means the world that you're here. Please subscribe to the channel down below. It goes an incredibly long way. Drop a like, comment, let me know again what you think about this story. And as I always say, I greatly appreciate you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.